Okay. Fahr ihm hinterher.
Hello guys, and welcome to a brand new video. We don't do much talking, we get straight into it. As you can see, we're on the bike. I have the GoPro on my handlebar, and this day I wanted to show you what it's like on a Sunday in Bogota. As you can see, we're somehow riding in the middle of the road, and we're actually going on the opposite lane, and it's all blocked for cars. There's only cyclists. Here you can see some runners. There's skaters, there's roller skaters, there's skateboarders. There's some tiny little stalls on the side where you can buy fruit cups, juices. There's places on the side of the road where you can get a flat tire fixed, just buy some accessories, buy some kits for your bike. So the real question is, what's going on? Yeah, this is something that happens every Sunday, every holiday down here in Colombia, not only in Bogota, here where I'm at, but also in Medellin, in Cucuta, in big places and tiny places. All across the country, they block huge roads off of the cars, so cyclists, runners, skaters, everyone, people running, jogging with their dogs, strollers, whatever, can take over the city again, and be the king of the roads. And today I wanted to show you going up Patios. Patios is actually not part of the so-called Ciclovía, so it's not completely blocked off for cars, but as you can see, there's like a ton of cyclists going up there because this is Bogota's local climb. As you can see here, we're at a stoplight, and this is where it goes up to a road called, what was it called? Via La Calera. So this is the road that goes to a village named La Calera, which is all the way up the mountain, then a bit down the mountain, so behind this big mountain which we're going up. And I wanted to show you and tell you a bit about this because this is basically what I do every day. People who follow me on Strava have probably seen this already, that I put Patios in the title. So yeah, Bogota's local climb. The Strava segment for this climb actually is only about 5.9 kilometers long, and it has about 7% average with not many variations. And it's pretty stable. It's continuously going up. And as you can see here, there's all kinds of people on roads, on road bikes and fixed bikes and mountain bikes. There's old people, young people, well-trained people. There's people who sadly only have time to go out for a ride on a Sunday. There's kids, there's guys, there's girls, there's bigger people, there's smaller people. You can see everyone out on the street riding. That's the cool thing about it. So yeah, we're here on a bit tricky part. As you can see, there's a big wall right on the right side, and there's some buses coming by and everything. But we are heading towards a place called Belisario, which is also the place where the Strava segment actually starts. So it hasn't started quite yet. It starts in Belisario and goes all the way to the top in Patios. This is the 5.9 kilometers that I was talking about, 7% average inclination, and you only climb about some 410 meters in total going up. It sounds little, but you have to keep in mind that you start at 2,650 meters. This is where Bogota is at, and you're going all the way up to higher than 3,000 meters to where a toll station is. This is also where Bogota basically has its border towards the east. So this is where you leave the city officially.
Das sind die jeden Sonntag fahren. Die, mit denen ich fahre, die sind schon längst irgendwo anders. Ich wollte das bloß auch mal aufnehmen, damit die Leute sehen, wie viele Leute.
So here you can see there's a lady selling juices, or a guy selling juices on the side of the road. Then there comes a tunnel. This is why there's a bit of a traffic jam, you can go either into the tunnel and back to the city, or you go over the tunnel, and this is where the climb starts. And over there to the right, right on top of the tunnel, this is Belisario. This is where you probably see a bunch of people. They wait here to meet their group, to meet their friends, to start together to go up and do the climb. So this is where the segment starts. Let's do it. In case you've seen this segment on Strava, just a little reminder, a little hint. Strava really has Patios wrong ever since. I've never seen that they've done it right. I think they've corrected the inclination. They've put it up from 5.9% of up to 7%. And if you see the graph, if you look at the link in the description box and look at this particular ride that I was doing this day, you can see that the inclination is recorded with my Garmin. So it's a pretty, a pretty even line going up. And if you see the line on Strava, it goes up and down and up and down, and that is actually not the case. If you follow this video all the way to the end, you can see it's only going up. There's no part where you can take a little break. So yeah, let's get to the video. Here in front of me, so you will probably not gonna see me throughout the video since I'm recording on my bike, but I was doing this climb with my brother. You can see him in the green. He's taking over everyone, even guys on the road bike, which is awesome, because the night before he actually came all together with my family from Germany, and he didn't have the slightest altitude problems. He just hopped on one of my boyfriend's bike. I think my boyfriend is behind me in this shot, and he just totally killed it. I mean, people who live in Bogota live in this high altitude air the whole time or for their entire life, and he basically lives on sea level, so no altitude at all. And he came here, and people usually have a couple of days pretty stressed out lungs, breathing problems. You take some stairs going up and you're so exhausted after just a couple of steps. And he was just going up Patios in a very, very good time. I think this day we were doing it in 27.5 minutes. That's pretty good, actually. I can just tell you, just to keep you entertained a bit, when I did this climb for the first time, for my first, when I first started cycling, road cycling, it took me, I think, 45 minutes, the actual time of riding, with about 7 stops because I had breathing problems. I used to have asthma when I was a kid, and now I pushed those 45 minutes to, I think, 23.5. This is my current personal record, which is pretty good. I made it to top 10, not yet. I'm on rank 12 of the women's leaderboard for, all the women that use Strava when going up this climb. And we did it in 27.5, which is good. It's probably top 40 for women. For the guys, probably, I don't know, top 200 or something like this. But still, a pretty good climb for my brother's, I think, second or third time on a road bike. So yeah, here we're going up. You can see there's people, mountain bikes, we've seen road bikes, we've seen tiny foldable bikes. There's people jogging up and down. It's amazing training. So yeah, guys, you have to remember this is a Sunday. So this is, when, I don't want to be mean, but usually people that go up Patios on a Sunday aren't the people who are super into cycling. Reason being is that you can see there's quite a lot of things going on. There's quite a few people, and the more people, the more dangerous it actually is. Sometimes there's 5 different people trying to overtake one guy at the same time, and then there's a car coming or something, and you're in the middle of it. So it can get a bit tricky at times. So all all or most of my friends from like the cycling community, they stay away from Patios on a Sunday, or say they go up Patios at 6 a.m. in the morning when there's almost nobody, and then they're coming back sometime in the afternoon, or come back through a different entrance from Bogota towards, the south, the north, the east, west, whatever. And yeah, I just wanted to show this to you guys, to my brother, since it is a local climb. It was the easiest thing to do. We just went up and down, which is about 1 hour, going from my house up all the way to the toll station, and then back to my house again. But yeah, usually during the week there aren't as many people as you can see in this video. It was a beautiful day. That also means there's a lot more people on the street. But during the week it looks a bit different. People here work. So it's the safest thing though to hop on the bike in the morning, because we are here very, very close to the equator, so that means there is not too much of sunshine. So the sun rises at about 6 a.m. and the sun sets at about 6 p.m. So you only have about 12 hours. And after work, let's say a person works from 9 to 5 p.m., then you have to get home, hop on your bike and go out for a ride. There is not much of like sunshine left to actually go for a decent ride. So what people do here is they get up very, very early, and I know so many disciplined, passionate people about road cycling. They get up every morning at 4 5 a.m. and put in their 2 or 3 hours of training before they go to work. And I know not many people in other places of the world do that. So really kudos to the rolos, the people from Bogota, who put in so much passion and effort into their training. It's amazing. So yeah, what typically happens during the week is that this place called Belisario that I just showed you earlier, where the segment starts and where people meet, at 5:30 a.m. all the way to 6 a.m. This is when this place is crowded with so many people, like waiting for their peers, waiting for their groups to go up again and, push each other hard. So yeah, early in the morning, this is where you see the most action happening on Patios. There's also some night rides going on every now and then, but I've personally never done it. Maybe I'll be looking into it in the future and take you guys with me if you're interested. Then there's another sweet little fact I wanted to tell you guys about. Have a guess. How many people do you think live in Bogota? Most people can't really imagine, because Colombia is like a developing country and you've never really thought about this country maybe in the first place, so you have not really an idea of how big cities get. So Bogota definitely is a mega city. I just checked online and the data says there are about 8 million people in Bogota. I've heard this is supposed to be somewhere around the size of London, I think. But the thing is, London is a lot bigger. So Bogota is it's a lot denser. Yeah. So you have a lot more people in a tinier space. Yeah, I'm just checking. London actually has, about the same amount of people as Bogota, but is a lot bigger. So out of these 8 million people, there's about 2 million people using the Ciclovía on a Sunday or a holiday, and I think that's amazing. That shows how active and sporty people the Colombians are. And I find it amazing in general that weekends are definitely something that you spend together with your family, being active, you know, going outside, going into nature, playing sports, riding your bike, doing whatever, but being active, being fit. That's kind of the theme I see on weekends all the time. If you're going to a park, no matter where in the city, you'll always see people playing with their kids, playing ball games, playing whatever, really. They're getting so creative. They're kind of being kids again, and I love that. I love that about the Colombians, because it shows me that they are still, you know, appreciating nature, appreciating being outside, and I don't see that much in other countries. So I really love that it's such a big thing. And especially Ciclovía is such a cool thing. It actually is more than 40 years old. So this theme of, you know, closing down roads, it started back in 1974, and it has since then spread to like Los Angeles, I think to Rio de Janeiro, like to many huge like mega cities all over the world. And the whole idea came from Bogota. I think that is so cool. Yeah, so imagine again, there's 2 million people out. There's 8 million people living in the urban area of the city. 2 million people are out being active. And you have a total of about 120 kilometers of roads blocked that, you know, are to be used for anything but cars. And the cool thing is they go through all city sectors, and they're forming something like a circuit. So every Sunday you could totally do like a little round tour through all the sectors of Bogota. That is so sweet. And, you know, I told you already, there's loads of bike shops, food stalls, you know, you can buy cycling clothing, everything on the side of the road. What we're passing now here is kind of like a little village. We're coming closer towards the actual part of the village. But here where it goes up, on the left side, there are, I don't know what they're called, but there's people manufacturing stones. I've never seen that in Europe, but they're sitting right on the side of the road and producing very pretty things out of stones. I don't know what the job is called. And we're also getting closer to halfway Patios. Can you believe it? The first half is actually a tiny bit steeper. This guy is suffering. The first half is a tiny bit steeper than the second half. Halfway up you have a CAI, a CAI, which is like a tiny police station, police subsidiary. So this marks halfway up our journey for today. And then there is one pretty steep curve coming up, and then it's a tiny bit flatter. So if you're into pacing, you can go up Patios at a really good time, your first time, if you're able to pace yourself.
Und dann kommt eigentlich nur noch eine steile Kurve und der Rest ist weniger steil.
Die Hälfte von der Strecke oder
Vom Berg. Ja, von der Strecke. Genau, hier diese kleine Station.
So guys, we've just passed halfway Patios and we're now pushing ourselves up further. There were so many people out on the road that day. That was really perfect for filming. Also, in case you wonder about the temperatures, just because I'm seeing this beautiful sunshine, since Bogota is so high on the mountains, you know, like 2,650 meters above sea level, it's not really in a tropical climate, even though it's like in the Caribbean area, very close to the equator. No, it's in a mountain climate. So the climate zone is called mountain climate because it is so high. You barely have varying temperatures. You don't have any seasons. There's maybe a dry and a wet period. So in January and in August is usually when you have the most sunshine, the highest amount of hours with sunshine. This was a particularly good day, but I can tell you guys, back in January this year, it was so hot, like the whole country dried out, and I got sunburn every day, which is crazy. And normally, nowadays, it's a bit rainy. August was pretty good, and usually throughout the day, it starts very cold in the morning, some 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees. Then when the sun is out, it heats up. It can heat up to 25 degrees in the sunshine. But the thing is, this, by the way, is the steepest curve of Patios. You can see people are pushing themselves up hard. You can do it. On a mountain bike without cleats. I could never do that. Anyway, yeah, so the sunshine never really heats up the air. So it just gets hot while you're in the sun. Like, you have to be directly in the sun. When you're in the shade, it's cold again. That's why, like, people from Bogota, they always have a jacket with them. And most of them actually leave the house with like a huge winter jacket. And I think it's funny because people here don't really know what cold weather means, but sometimes it's just really funny how each and everyone's perception of various temperatures is. When I'm out in the t-shirt and people next to me have like a big winter jacket and gloves and scarves and a big hat. That's funny. But the climate is very, very pleasing when it comes to cycling. Year round you can cycle. You don't have these stupid winter months, you know, when everyone is hopping on the trainer, what I see on Strava. No, you don't have to do that. You can go up Patios 365 days of the year if you're fine with some rain. And that is pretty cool. I think it adds up a lot to being, you know, to being a better cyclist, to improving your times, to climbing faster, going harder. You know, when you're able to ride throughout the entire year. That is such a big benefit. Here is the little village I spoke to you about. There's a supermarket, but it's closed. There's not much going on. The party doesn't start until we're on the top of Patios. This is where the action is happening.
So. Ja, wenn man halt 20 Jahre fährt und das professionell, also der kennt alle, die in der Tour de France gefahren ist, mit denen ist er auch mal in dem Team gefahren. Und ja, da lernt man halt jeden kennen. Nee, der hat ja aufgehört, der ist 10 Jahre gefahren.
Then guys, I don't want to put you through too much silence. Let's talk about cycling in Colombia. Many of you have asked me whether, maybe Nairo Quintana, Pantano, Henao, all these popular, very popular cyclists that have popped up this year or also earlier throughout, the big tours in the world, Giro Italia, Tour de France, now we're Vuelta a España. Whether they are responsible for cycling being so popular in Colombia, I would say no. I think cycling has always been a popular thing here in Colombia. Especially, I think the Ciclovía has also played a big role in that, giving people the opportunity to have a safe ride out on the roads. That is so important when it comes to getting people interested in something. When they have the opportunities to do it and feel good while doing it, then they'll probably do it. But when their sport only, considers like being in a dangerous place, putting yourself into danger, having a hard time doing it, then why would you go out there, hop on your bike and, go for a ride? So, no, this is perfect. And Bogota and Medellin, as far as I know, share one of the biggest cycling communities. I've recently been to Medellin and I got told that the cycling community in Medellin is maybe 3 times as big as in Bogota, which is crazy because look at how many people are cycling. And also, I feel like there are more and more people finding the love for road cycling. There are many runners in Bogota, and there are many people actually training for triathlons, training for Ironmans. There is, by the way, the first Ironman held in Colombia this year in December in Cartagena, which is awesome, I think. It gives people great opportunities to be able to take part in this event without having to pay for a super expensive ticket, out of the country. So they just have to go to Cartagena, pay the very high inscription fee, but at least you don't have to pay the flight. But no, there's very active people, and cycling is finding more and more attraction and love from guys and girls alike, from young people, old people. And you can also see there are more and more bike stores popping up. There are bike training centers for indoor trainings. There's bike cafes. There's more and more bike events, bike races popping up everywhere. That's awesome. I love it. This is the perfect place for cycling. If you want, a big community, lots of support from within the community. If you want a whole lot of variety of roads, if you want altitude training, which is so good, it makes you such a better cyclist, seriously. And if you want mountains, you should definitely think about coming to Colombia. I don't know if you just saw it, there was a sign on the right saying peaje, 1 kilometer. So there's only 1 kilometer to go. You made it through this video. Thank you so much for staying tuned. I will definitely do a re-upload of this video when I'm attempting a new personal record again. So it won't be 30 minutes long, but maybe just 20, 21, 22, we'll see. But I'm going to take you with me again, and I'm also going to publish all the Garmin data, inclination, speed, cadence, and do a nice little overlay. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comment section. For now, we can do the countdown. This is one of the last steep curves on going up Patios. You can see here there's always, when there's a big bunch of cyclists, that's usually when people slow down in the front and make everyone else slow down. There's also some nasty, messed up speed bumps on the road. That's why you can see, the camera's shaking a bit from left to right, because I'm trying to go, not over them, but past them. because it slows you down so much going uphill over a speed bump. I feel like I'm going over a, I don't know, a half a meter high of a speed bump or something, even though it's just tiny, but you can definitely feel it. And there's the last curve, people taking breaks. No, don't give up, you can do it. When I think back when I went up first time and all the breathing problems I had, and now I can tell you altitude training is key, consistency is key, climbing is key. And there was a flatter bit in the curve, and now as you can see, peaje a 500 metros, so 500 meters left all the way to the toll station. This is usually where you can start. I think this is when I'm leaving. I asked my brother if he wants to do a sprint, and I think I told him that I'm just gonna go for it, to push hard, since this was one of my last rides before a 3-week vacation. I wanted to push hard one last time again. So here's where you can start your nice little sprint, you know, battle yourself with others and make you vomit your lungs out.
Genau, wir machen meistens ab dem Schild Sprint. 300 Meter.
There you can see peaje 300 metros, 300 meters to go. Actually, maybe some 20 meters less, because the segment and the actual mountains end a bit earlier than the actual toll station. But we're getting closer. You can see all the little huts selling stuff. There's the green sign saying you're leaving Bogota, and we made it, overtaking some more people, pushing hard. We made it to the top of Patios. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Up here you can have one of the best juices. You can have fruit bowls. You can have this amazing carrot and orange juice, and you can just enjoy the altitude, breathe deep, and watch other people suffering, climbing themselves all the way to the top. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.